for the dark space I went through and how it harmed you. Because it wasn't fair to you. But because I was angry, you were withdrawing from me. And because you were withdrawing from me, I was experiencing not just the anger from the rejection.
There's something tragic about seeing a family disintegrate in front of your eyes. One day, you're all about believing in the vision they're peddling, one of togetherness, love, commitment, and the next you're seeing betrayal, broken trust, and the subtle, insidious hold of control. It was a slow disintegration nobody wanted to acknowledge was taking place. Despite all the warning signs being right in front of them, the forced smiles that never reached the eyes, the unspoken words, the isolation lingering at the periphery of every joyful family moment. I'm thrilled you're here with me today because we have some things we need to discuss about what's really happening behind the scenes of Sister Wives. Not the smooth edit, not the attempt to fill in the gaps with a layer of new paint, but the gritty, rough around the edges reality that's been unfolding in secret right under our noses for years. Before we begin, make sure you've hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like this video if you've ever caught yourself shouting at the TV during an episode because same. And by all means, dive into the comments and share your opinions. I read all of you guys' posts, and I can assure you your thoughts make these discussions even richer. Today, we're lifting the veil. We're discussing the little betrayals that accumulated over time, the changed allegiances, the repressed hurt that finally burst into the open, the manner in which love can be turned into a weapon rather than a vow, and the question on everyone's mind, did anyone ever really stand a chance? Or was this family set to implode from the get-go? Stay with me because it gets real about now. Reflecting back on the first few seasons of Sister Wives, it's sort of creepy how apparent the fissures were. Even when they all, including the Browns themselves, worked so diligently to maintain the illusion that everything was okay. On the outside, they were this large, adoring family, conquering the world as one, proving plural marriage could be done if you had sufficient faith, tolerance, and affection. But beneath that beaming, cheerful photo, you could already sense it. Something was off. There were these little awkward moments that struck harder when you watched them again now, such as when Meri would joke and it would fall with this strange, heavy silence, or the way Christine would strain to produce a brilliant, cheerful laugh, even if her eyes did not cooperate. And then there was Kody. It didn't matter how much he said he treated all the wives the same. You could sense the favoritism, certainly after Robyn joined the family, the way his face would light up differently in her presence. The way choices suddenly became based on what would make Robyn at ease, even if it meant sacrificing again for the other wives. Watching it now, guys, I literally felt ill because it wasn't tension. It was the gradual, relentless disconnection. The sort that you don't even realize at the beginning because it's masked by good intention and stifled smiles. But it existed. You could see Christine withdrawing. You could sense Meri's isolation consuming the space like smoke. And you could see Janelle standing back, trying not to get hurt. The little things summed it up. Robyn getting her own rental house while the others scrambled for living arrangements. Kody spending more nights with her. The way discussions that were supposed to be family decisions suddenly felt more like Kody presenting a finished plan and everyone else expected to fall in line. It wasn't partnership anymore. It was control with a mask on. Back then, however, it seemed like, okay, maybe they can figure this out. Maybe it's just growing pains. Nobody was willing to accept the foundation was already weakening, but nobody, and I mean nobody, could have guessed how much worse it would actually turn out. And honestly, the worst part, it didn't come all at once. It was slow, thought out, and in some respects way more devastating. Due to that, Christine's point of breaking wasn't anything that resulted overnight. It grew over years of emotional drain, of giving and seeing her love not be returned. There were countless times in the show where you could see how much it was affecting her. Moments when the sorrow in her eyes wasn't only hidden under the surface, but it was soaked into every conversation, every look she shared with Kody. Such as that conversation in season 16 when Christine finally breaks down and opens up to Kody about how she feels. She admits to him, "I feel like I'm the least of your priorities." And you could just see it. The years of emotional baggage in her words. The years of being like she was always on the back burner despite all her efforts to keep everything together. Seeing that moment, I just felt this overwhelming sadness for Christine. Honestly, how many times are you told you're not enough before you just don't try anymore? How many times can you ever say I love you and not hear I love you in return? How much does one have to shatter before he can utter "I'm done"? It was not only because Kody did not show her affection, it was the entire dynamic. It was the constant sacrifice, the constant effort of trying to be noticed, trying to be appreciated just to always be overshadowed by Robyn. Even during their family gatherings, Christine would speak up, her hurt. But the discussion would soon come around to what Kody desired, to what Robyn required, leaving Christine holding the fragments of her shattered heart. And don't even get started on the portion where Kody was seldom ever available for her. Yes, he'd say he loved her on camera, but his behavior totally otherwise. Not just emotional abandonment, it was the rejection that was more painful each and every day. And then that moment of reckoning arrived, Christine finally realizing that enough was enough. When she sat her suitcase and walked out of that house, something inside her seemed to snap. It wasn't a loud, chaotic explosion. It was more subdued, more agonizing. She knew that if she desired happiness, if she desired to be loved for real, she had to leave the situation that was sucking the life out of her. She had to love herself. And I find myself thinking about all the women, all the individuals who have ever been trapped in a relationship, a situation in which they gave and received nothing back. Christine selected herself in a manner that many of us can identify with. The hardest thing that you can do sometimes is leave something that does not work for you, despite it being difficult, despite your investment in it. Christine's path is one that is similar to so many individuals who eventually come to say, you know what, I deserve more. I deserve to be respected, to be heard, and to be loved. Meri's path has always been one that is quiet and painful. She's been the background woman for years, always there but somehow never really seen. The show brought Meri's loneliness into focus in a way that made it almost tangible. Certainly, the catfishing scandal did indeed wreak havoc on her relationship with Kody, but even before that, Meri's pain was apparent. She was a woman who had been in the marriage longer than everyone else, but for so long, you could see that she was isolated emotionally, physically, and mentally. Take a moment to reflect on how much Meri would complain about feeling alone, even being in the presence of the family. There were the painful moments when she'd sit with Kody, trying to get him to recognize her need for attention and affection, but getting only apathy or a cold response instead. It was heartbreaking to watch her. You could sense the years of loneliness crushing her, the silent struggle she waged every day just to maintain a hold on something that felt so far away. Meri's fight was never truly about the dramatic big scenes. It was about those quiet, nearly imperceptible signals. The way Kody favored Robyn, the way Meri withdrew within herself at family gatherings. She remained and remained. But why? Out of duty? Out of love? Or was it because she could not envision life outside the polygamous family she had created? The catfishing scandal fueled the flames. Naturally, it was a very painful episode that put on display the cracks in her relationship with Kody. But really, even prior to this, there were underlying problems. You could see it. Meri felt rejected, not only by Kody, but by the entire family. She wasn't only struggling to get Kody's attention anymore, she was struggling to fight for her own self-worth. The emotional cost it exacted from her was evident. What is even more tragic is that Meri appeared to second-guess herself all the time. She would constantly say, for example, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but there was never any actual resolution, no instance where she knew she was safe in her position within the family. And as the years passed, it became increasingly obvious that Meri was emotionally removed from the equation, not by choice, but because she had no other choice. The silence of her fight is something that I believe a lot of viewers can identify with. Sometimes the hardest fights are the ones we fight alone, the ones we don't have the strength to verbalize anymore, and yet Meri remained. But here's the difference. Meri and Christine made two vastly different decisions. As Christine walked away to restore her happiness, Meri remained, suffering the silent pain. Why did Meri remain when everything felt so shattered? And perhaps she's now at last at a crossroads where she's been presented with the same choice Christine had made. Robyn's contribution to the family has always been one of both love and controversy since the very beginning. It's difficult to get away from how much her arrival altered the dynamic of the whole Sister Wives family. Kody's bond with her became the center of most of the drama. Over time, Robyn appeared to increasingly become Kody's favorite, and quite frankly, that favoritism was difficult to overlook. Consider the early seasons when Robyn first joined the family. It wasn't only that she was new that generated tension, it was the way she was treated otherwise. Kody's openness about his love for Robyn was evident. He was more attentive, more demonstrative, and much of the time it appeared, more interested in their union than with any of the other wives. He would go on for hours speaking with Robyn, and she was always depicted as being the one who gained most attention from Kody. Yes, but from the family in general. And don't forget the notorious moments when Robyn received favoritism during family gatherings. Whether it was her children being treated with more attention or one-on-ones with Kody, you could sense the tension between her and the other wives building. It wasn't that Robyn was doing anything erroneous, it was the way things were being done that was problematic. When you're watching the show, it's hard not to get the impression that Robyn was provided with another set of rules to play by, and it just served to widen the rift in the family. You guys' love is not supposed to be competitive, but that's what it became. Over time, the other wives definitely felt neglected or shortchanged. Christine, Meri, and Janelle started to have issues with their own relationships with Kody, and a lot of their anger appeared to be a result of this very factor. How were they supposed to compete with Robyn, who had Kody's complete attention? It wasn't solely the relationship aspect. The trust broken by the catfishing scandal, along with years of seclusion, has left her wondering what's really left in their marriage. You see it on her face when she talks to Kody. The pain is evident. She's not battling anymore for space in his heart. She's just surviving. And it's a heartbreaking thing to see. And then Janelle. She appears to be balancing along that thin line of attempting to maintain peace and struggling to get her own voice heard amidst all the drama. Kody's failure to be emotionally available for her has left her feeling detached, uncertain about what the future holds in their marriage. And though she hasn't made any grand gestures like Christine, there is a sense of inner resignation. Now Robyn, who was once the emotional anchor of Kody, finds herself in a vulnerable spot. She remains in Kody's focus. But as the family falls apart, it's impossible to deny the burden of being the favorite. How much can someone bear before the weight of the family's collapse begins to feel too much? The ties that bound this family together have broken irrevocably. The gap between Kody and his wives is now so achingly evident it's difficult to ignore. The family landscape has irreversibly changed. You can sense the shifting allegiances, the betrayals, the pain, and the wish to just be gone. Ultimately, this isn't a tale about love or polygamy. It's a tale about control. So was it ever truly about family, or was it always about control? At this juncture, who knows? To see these families disintegrate causes us to wonder whether there was ever a real sense of family, or whether it was all about keeping the story together, keeping control of the family narrative. All that love they once shared is now replaced with power struggles. And in the end, that might be the saddest part of all. As we finish this emotional journey, it's impossible not to feel a little bit heartbroken for these women, Christine, Meri, Janelle, and even Robyn. Their struggle, their sorrow, their quest for happiness and love. It's all out there for us to see, and it's difficult to bear. These are human beings with feelings, and even after the years of strain, promises broken again, and backstabbing, it seems that they all deserve better. Christine's ultimate choice to leave Kody was surely the toughest decision she ever made. But in leaving him, she discovered something that most of us never anticipated. Freedom. Not just a physical one, an emotional one as well. She was able to reclaim her life and happiness, something that had been taken from her for so long. And as much as I wish things hadn't gone this far, I must admit I'm proud of her. But tell me, were you for Christine from the beginning? Was it hard to see her leave a family that was supposed to be her everything? The future for all of them is unknown, but there's hope. I truly believe that though the past was painful, the future offers new hopes. Maybe healing, maybe growth, or maybe learning who they are as a person outside of the family. That's what truly matters in the end. I just need to say thank you all for watching and hanging with me all through all the twists and turns. If you need more real, honest commentary about Sister Wives and all the drama, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the rest of the shows that are coming up. Trust me, there's plenty more in store. Stay tuned.